Okay. All right. So today, well, it hasn't rained in Ireland for the last 3 days, which I think is a national record. And things are kind of dry. The bus is dry. So today I am going to start on the outside, grinding off a lot of the rust, and putting some primer and rust treatment on it, just to try and get that sorted before it starts raining again. All of this is rust, all of it, which is not a train smash, because actually this whole panel is all cosmetic, and underneath it seems like the bodywork is still good. Let's take this piece off and see what happens underneath. What's the worst that can happen, eh? So all of this holy shit hole. Yeah. Alright then, before we lose light, which I am assuming will be soon, before anybody comes to complain about the noise that I'm making, I've come to the other side of the bus to check and see what's happening here. My assumption is that it's going to be the same. Let's check it out. This section here, unlike the other side, was not nearly as bad, but I do see there is a hole over there, which means that this whole thing's going to probably come out. I turned my attention to this side. There wasn't too much over there. That's okay. There was quite a lot of rust along the side of the door, so I took that off. Most of it's cosmetic. And then this one here I was worried about, because this is actual body work, and I took all the surface rust here and no issues. Good. Right, so there is some rust along the bonnet and just around the front, so I just want to get rid of that so that we can prime it. Alright, so what I initially figured was surface rust, turns out it's actually a hole. It's a whole hole in the bonnet. Mario has nostrils, so we might have to replace the bonnet or fix that. The rest of it is fine. I think most of the work that I wanted to do with the angle grinder is done, so the next step is I'm going to get the that rust paint that I've got. You can see back there is that the part of the bus where there was a lot of rust, and I want to see what's happening behind this panel. So this panel is just riveted on, so I'm going to just drill out all these rivets, remove this panel nice and neatly so that I can see what's happening behind it. Right, check it out. Okay, so all the rivets are off now. Well, they're off there on my drill. Yeah, we'll pick them up. So, moment of truth. Let's see what happens when we pull this panel off. In 3, 2, 1. Hooey! Right. So far, a lot of dirt, some rust over there. rust there along the edges, but yeah, it should be okay, I guess. So the idea now is to actually cut this part out of the body out, cut the rust out completely, and then we will rivet in a piece of plate steel to cover that up nicely. So that's our job for today. All good. Gotten almost all the rust cleaned up, and now I'm gonna just cover it up with some rust converter, rust primer, whatever you want to call it, rust treatment. Firstly, the camera stopped recording while I was busy here, and I didn't realize it, so that's why you missed all of that. But what I've done is, as I was cutting away, I noticed more and more rust along this edge, and I ended up just cutting the whole way through. I've sealed it and I've treated it all the way through, and I think tomorrow what I can do is just clean up whatever's over here and then put that panel back on, and it'll be grand. It'll be great. Right, so next step in the Vario saga, put the panel back, and then cut a new piece to go in here, and then hopefully we can be done with that today. So we've got all of the little rivets in place. So now the next thing is to just pop them out, and then we'll be done with this panel. Alright, quick update. We've got the piece that needed to be covered over there, and we've cut this piece over here, which we will now put over there. Alright, cool. So I'm actually super happy with this result. These rivets at the bottom here, because there's a gap between the spoiler and the plate, I need some longer rivets, some rivets with some longer heads and some washers behind. So I'll go and pick those up later. But all of these along the top are properly secured. Very, very happy. Good. One side down. One to go.